Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
I need a new way to start these episodes. I keep saying the same thing. Welcome back to the Daily Threat. Hey, hold on one second. Before you enjoy this amazing content from Meaningful Minute, please go ahead and make sure to subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment. We love hearing back from you.
Well, it's good to be here. It's been a full week. It's Thursday.
Yeah, it's good to do a full week of episodes.
Well, we do 4 days. We're getting into our stride. We're getting used to it. It's a new thing in our schedule, but
it's challenging.
Yeah, you're gonna set me up at home so I don't have to come in here, right?
It's true. We should do that.
Or in my car. Maybe I can do it from my car.
Okay, so let's start off the episode the way that we like starting off the episode, and that's with delving into the email box. Let's see what we got here. Okay,
let me hear this.
I got an email at 6:07 a.m. today.
Okay.
Good morning, Nachi and Mr. Gordon.
That must be me, right? Yeah.
Thank you for the great
So
podcast.
respectful, so nice.
And all the other podcasts too. I couldn't help, as a British Jew, being disturbed by the content of your previous podcast regarding the British monarchy. I'm an avid listener, and you yourself have mentioned how people should be more educated than they would, then they wouldn't be making uneducated remarks. I think that's a reference to what you said, not me.
Oh, you started.
I'm referring to Mr. Gordon's approach to educate Kanye West. Please practice what you preach, and surely you agree that us British Jews live in a Malchus Shel Chesed, and there is no need for negative remarks. King Charles is a friend to the Jewish people, and we would like it to stay this way. Your podcast is viewed on TikTok. As you have said, it got many comments on standing up against Kanye West. We wouldn't want this to go viral and make problems for the Jewish people in England. Keep up the great work, and when educated, then perhaps you can make a British news podcast here too.
Okay.
Did we really go that hard against the monarchy?
I don't think so.
All I said was I don't think the monarchy is going to last the test of time. Is that bad?
I don't know what you based that on. All I said was that not in the top 1,000 things that I think about.
I think it's the problem with what I said then, that I don't think that the monarchy is going to last too long.
Why shouldn't it last? What do you know? What do you know about the monarchy?
I don't know. All I know is that
he has children and grandchildren. They'll go on and on. What kind of criticism of the monarchy? It's really it's a distraction. For people that
the monarchy is a distraction.
Distraction for people who don't have that much to do.
It's like a reality TV show in real life.
Is it taken seriously in Britain?
I think we're gonna get another bad email if we continue talking about it. So
I'd like to know this guy if it's taking that seriously. I think the most serious thing in the whole British infrastructure, those guys that guard the palace. The palace.
I think it's part of the monarchy.
And they don't blink.
Amazing.
I've seen that.
Anyways, today is November 10th.
Right.
And it is the Yartzheit of Shlomo Carlebach.
How many? He died in 1994. So
1994.
What is that? That makes it what? 30 years? Almost 29 years?
Yeah, you're the mathematician here.
29 years, right? Yochanan, 29 years, 1994, 29 years. He was a great man. Great man, and he has, I believe, tremendous schusim, and in a sense, in our limited grasp of things, he lives on in every Jew's heart, in every Jew's mind, in every shul, certainly on Friday night, and his negunim are eternal.
You had a personal shaykhus with Shlomo Carlebach. Would love to hear a little bit about that.
Well, I interviewed him on the radio back in the 70s and the 80s a few times. I recently discovered, about a year or two ago, a bunch of tapes. We can call it the basement tapes.
We have. This is not a cassette player. This is a.
That's a cassette player.
This is a cassette player.
Yeah, let me show you.
What's
inside the cassette player is a cassette.
Oh my gosh! So when I told you to bring when I told you to bring the cassette with the cassette player, I was talking about the record with a record player.
No.
The needle thing.
No, I don't have. You didn't. You can't. There's
what are you getting bent out of shape about?
Such amarasis about the history of recordings. This is a cassette player. Okay, this was. All right, I should really tell you about that. This is Shlomo Carlebach.
Yeah,
that's Shlomo Carlebach.
That's on a cassette. It was recorded right on this thing.
He's singing live on the radio. I had him in a radio studio at WNYM, and that was 1984 approximately.
1984, 10 years before he passed away.
Almost 40 years ago.
Oh, you look good.
And what?
You look good.
Oh, I look good. Baruch Hashem. Thank you very much. Carlebach came to the studio. He was probably promoting a concert or an album at the time. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he slept out to Staten Island. Then another time, what was that? On one of your three phones? Then another time, he came when I used to be on WFMU, which was in East Orange, New Jersey, that I used to go out to every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning.
How long would that take you to get there?
An hour. It'd take me an hour. I used to leave my
day.
house at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I would get there in an hour, under an hour. And then Carlebach would come from the west side of Manhattan. And I was only one in the studio for many years, for a lot of those years. I was only there 3.5 years. But I remember it was like a terrible winter weather outside. And he used to take the bus from the Port Authority to come to East Orange, New Jersey. And I remember he came to the studio. He rang the bell, and I opened the door because I kept it locked because it was East Orange, New Jersey. If you know what's going on in East Orange, New Jersey, you keep your door locks too. I don't think you get an email from anybody in East Orange. Don't worry about it.
Listen, I didn't think I was going to wake up to an email from someone in England.
Don't worry about
Shout
that.
out to our listeners all over the world. Really appreciate the love.
But he just came out with his album, Days Are Coming, and he was sitting on the bus with the record album, and he happened to sit on the record. Okay, and part of it was bent out of shape, so he couldn't play some of the songs. It was skipping.
So the record is the circle thing?
Yeah, the record is that's LP. It's called Long Playing, LP.
Okay,
that's the record. This is a cassette. This is the next generation, which is much smaller, as you can see.
Yeah, I use these for bar mitzvah lessons.
Oh, really? Okay, so this is he took him. It was on the radio one evening. Well, it was on the radio, I think, between 9 and 11 p.m. during the week in those days. On WNYM, 13:30 a.m. And Carlebach was in the studio with Sam Intrader, who was like his agent or his manager or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And he was taking phone calls from listeners. It was a week before Hanukkah, or it was during Hanukkah, I'm not sure. And he was talking to people, and people were making requests about what they wanted to sing in the studio. So what you're going to hear is what did we say, 39 years ago? So towards the end of his career, maybe the last 10 years, because he, like you say, he did pass away in 94, and this was 84, he started whistling a lot on stage. Mm-hmm. And I thought maybe he was having problems with his voice, and it was just a lot easier to whistle part of each song. So here's an introduction to Essa Einai. Lower, distorting, lower. He's singing a medley of songs. What a play! He's singing a medley of songs now. He's not going to sing the whole song. He's going to play. He's going to sing 3 or 4 different songs. All popular, all well-known, all still sung today. Fade it out. Lower the volume. All right, that's just one tape. I have hundreds of tapes, not all with people like Shlomo Carlebach on them, but I did hundreds of interviews on different subjects over the years.
Did you ever have an interaction with him where he maybe introduced a new song on the air?
Yes, you know that story, right? I told you that story.
I mean, maybe I do.
I have a tape of it. I will find it one of these days.
Okay, let's hear the story.
Well, the story is it was on the radio. It might even be not on this tape. Might be on part 2 of that tape. And we were talking about how many songs he's written. As a matter of fact, I wrote about it a few years ago. Shlomo Carlebach told me that he's written about 8,000 songs. Is what he said.
Okay.
And this is on the tape somewhere. I can find it somewhere if I really look hard enough or spend enough time looking for it. Anyway, at the time, I got an email from Yossi Green, who was a good friend and a very prolific songwriter. He said to me, Carlebach didn't write 8,000 songs. He says, him, Yossi Green, I wrote about 400 or 500 songs. I think he said 475 songs at the time.
8,000's a lot.
8,000's a lot. He had a long career, and he was music. He was music. And in case you question whether he was music or not, look what's going on 40 years later.
So what song did he?
Oh, so I said to him. He said to me. He told me he writes songs every single day, and this is what he used to do. He used to live on the West Side, and he used to work or do something on the Lower East Side. So he used to take the train down from the West Side down to the Lower East Side, and he would have a tune in his head that he was thinking about on the train, so he remembers it. When he got home, he would run to a payphone on Delancey Street, dial his phone number in his answering machine, and sing the song, he said, into the answering machine, so that when he got home, he'd remember the tune. So I said to him once, so Shlomo, I said, did you write anything today? He goes, yeah, he wrote one song today. So I said, could you sing it for me? So he said, sure. David Melech, Melech Yisrael, David Melech. So, on my Carlebach, but that's the song that he said he wrote.
Wow.
He wrote
and
that
that's like the most vintage Jewish song.
This is priceless. To me, this is priceless stuff. And I think to people that have an appreciation for this is real living Judaica, it's priceless.
Yeah,
and have a lot of other stuff. I have hundreds of tapes, like I said, not all with Carlebach.
Yeah, but
I have them from WFMU in the early morning. I have them from later years at WNYM. It spanned about 10 years altogether. I didn't record everything, unfortunately,
because it is Yartzheit. I want to play a hesped that my brother sent to me that he found online by Dr. Rothkopf. It's been making its way on WhatsApp, and we'll play right over here.
This famous picture of Shlomo comes to mind at a Soviet demonstration where he's standing in the rain and he's playing to let the people of Russia go free. And so we're standing here in the rain for Shlomo. And if ever anybody was at Tfilas Hageshem, the prayer for rain on Sukkot with Shlomo, you'd all be standing here and saying, God, please, let there be one drop for me. One drop. Just for me. And ever since the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, Lech lecha me'atzecha, go out and don't think about yourself and just be mekayrev of other people, Shlomo stopped thinking about himself and gave up everything. And like Abraham, he came to Eretz Canaan, Vahi rov ba'aretz, and there was a famine in the land. You would think Hashem's Lubavitcher Rebbe is sending him out to simcha, to joy, to the Beis Medrash, to sitting and learning. But Avram went to a land and there was a Rav there, and he had one Nisayon after another. And the people didn't accept him, and he had to go down to Mitzrayim. And his life was just filled with making the shamos, making the fashos. We're all his nefesh, we're all his neshamos, we're all his children. Neshama sheshaosu b'choron. And Shlomo, this is your place, right at the entrance to your shul, where you greeted everybody who came to your shul. You didn't sit in the front, isolated from the people. He hugged and kissed everybody who came to his shul. He felt that after the Holocaust, every Yid is a miracle. You're all miracles. He wanted to hug and kiss every miracle. He wanted us to go out and hug and kiss everybody. How could you not do it? How could you stand next to another Yid and not hug and kiss them? And he had shopping bags filled with names and addresses and phone numbers of every Yid all over the world, so that when Mashiach comes, he'll know where to find them. His life was a challenge to all of us. Those of us who came to his concert and sat back and looked at him singing and said, very nice, Shlomo, very nice. It's not enough. It's not enough. Shlomo is sending us out on a mission. He gave us a seed. He gave us his song. He gave us his Torah. It's not enough. It's got to grow. The rain's got to make it grow. And we have to turn everybody on. Do you know that he didn't only teach Yidden? He went to monasteries. He went to churches. He went to Reform synagogues. Every place where anybody would listen to the name of Hashem, who wanted to hear the truth in the world. He was Eved Hashem. He was nobody else's Eved. He was nobody else's Eved. Everybody told him, you're doing wrong. Shlomo was Hashem's Eved. He did what was right. He wasn't just tzaddik b'dor sov. He was a chassid. Who's going to give us this now? I'm challenging all the rabbeim of the world. I'm challenging you. Make your Torah sweeter. Make your davening higher. Make your love sweeter. Reach out your arms. Hold the people who need to be held. This is mamish mesiras nefesh. It's mesiras nefesh. Our generation is drowning. Shlomo was pulling them out of the water. Please, I'm begging you. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. I'm begging you.
He was extremely unique. He was extremely unique. A few years ago, before Corona, I went to the West Side for Shabbos, and I went to the Carlebach Shul, where you do the Green Davens for the Amid. And the West Side is, it's bursting with Jews, but they have a problem getting a minyan in the Carlebach Shul. We had to wait. We had to wait a long time Friday night until we got at center to daven. Then I went there for Mincha on Shabbos, and we went upstairs to his apartment for Shal Shidduch, where Shlomo used to live.
Really?
There's pictures of him on the wall, and it was just sitting there. It was a piece of nostalgia.
Amazing. So his neshama should have an aliyah.
Yeah.
And we sing his songs every. You walk into any shul on Friday night, I'm sure they're singing a Carlebach song.
And we have to revisit some of these tapes and
we'll do. You know what? Well, maybe we'll do some bonus content for our special daily thread listeners, and we'll post some of that content.
Okay.
On to our next story for today. Many know last week before Shabbos there was this FBI threat.
Right.
The FBI put out that there's a threat on shuls in New Jersey, just New Jersey, right, which I found to be very interesting because the border from New Jersey to New York is just a few miles. So if there's a threat on New Jersey, it's like saying there's a tornado watch in Jersey, but that could cross
the bridge if that.
Yeah, it could cross the bridge.
That's easy pass.
Right.
Across the GW bridge, easy.
So what was that all about? So we have a headline here. The Sayreville, New Jersey teen was arrested Thursday for transmitting an online threat that prompted last week's FBI tweet warning of a broad threat to the Jewish community in the state. Can you imagine a teenager? The threat sent police scrambling to add extra patrols at synagogues and yeshivas. Federal prosecutors in Newark charged Omar Al-Katul, 18 years old, with one count of transmitting a threat in interstate and foreign commerce. U.S. Attorney Philip Selinger said, according to the complaint, this defendant used social media to send a manifesto containing a threat to attack a synagogue based on his hatred of Jews. 18 years old. 18
this
years
is
old.
This is a problem.
By the way, I'm sure he's one of them on TikTok who's commenting on our videos. Like, I know people say, well, I someone, good friend of mine, David Dax, son of Shlomi, his response to me when I showed him all these things on TikTok, he said, those are not real, like, those are not real people. Meaning they're real. They're not bots, but they're not, like, you can't count those as people. And I think they are. This is him.
Okay, so this is a product of, this is an outgrowth of the environment, unintentionally perhaps created by, and they don't realize it, by people like Kyrie Irving and Kanye West. Yeah. I don't want to get back into that.
I sure as heck don't either.
This is an outgrowth of that. They create a saviva, you know.
Yeah.
They create an environment for that, and it pops into a kid's head like that.
Yeah.
It has access to social media. Let me phone in a threat to shuls.
And
you scared of Jews a little bit.
Unreal. Well, Baruch Hashem, nothing ended up happening, and we hope that. Omar. I hope you enjoy spending the next 18 years sitting in jail.
He's not sitting in jail for 18 years.
Probably
home on TikTok right now.
Probably be out there in 18 days.
He's on TikTok right now.
Yeah. Anyways, there was a rock attack.
A rock attack.
Yeah.
Yes, in Israel. I'm speaking to people. I'm on a WhatsApp group that has security.
You're on a lot of WhatsApp groups. That's how you spend 8 hours a day on your phone.
But I'm on this WhatsApp group that talk about security issues in Israel, especially in Yehuda and Shomron. So the guy that sends me these things sent me something about a rock attack against a bus full of soldiers. You want to show that?
I'll show the video right now. Okay, so like my first impression, without reading the text that's attached here, you have like what 5 to 7 soldiers on this bus.
Young soldiers, they're 18-year-olds.
Yeah, but someone's attacking the bus with rocks.
Where should they go out? Go out and start shooting?
What do you think they should have done?
Okay, so you have to read what the guy that sent this to me said.
Do we have Bar? His name is Baruch, the person who sent this.
His name is Baruch.
He wrote, fact, rocks can inflict bodily harm and death. For example, in Beit El lies grave of Itamar Kapach, Alav Shalom, who was stoned while driving, lost control of his car, and died in an ensuing crash. Baruch's suggestion, the soldiers with guns should immediately alight from the bus and shoot the perpetrators of the attack. No matter what their age, it won't take more than 2 or 3 such incidents, and there won't be any more rocks thrown, period.
Okay, so that's one option. How should the soldiers react? Should they get off the bus and shoot at these guys? Let's say not to kill.
I disagree with the consequence because, to be honest, I don't think it's going to stop rock attacks because these people clearly have no problem.
Naki, he lives there, and he knows if it happens 2 or 3 times, they're going to stop.
Okay, the next paragraph reads...
We're not calling for hurting anybody or killing anybody.
Ketzler had a different solution. He suggested driving through all the Arab villages with loudspeakers announcing that wherever a rock is thrown, the Israeli government will not shoot anybody, rather will expropriate 12 acres of adjacent lands and establish a new Jewish village of 200, 300 families of married hilltop youth. The development of the project will begin within 48 hours of the assault. After the establishment of 2 such villages, no more rocks. Whose idea do you like more? I won't be offended. So that's on a group that you post.
All right, Ketzler, first of all, is Yaakov Katz. He's one of the founders of Beit El.
Interesting. So, what do you think?
I like the first of all, the first idea he would have more problems with Israelis than with Arabs from the first idea.
What do you mean?
For some reason,
you have Israelis shooting people. You're saying
for some reason, just like I said a few weeks ago, that there's an allowance for attacks against Jews for anti-Semitism. People are against it, but there's more flexibility when it comes to anti-Semitism as opposed to a racist attack against a black person or an Asian attack. That gets condemned right away. When it happens to Jews, it gets condemned, but it takes a little bit longer.
They'll have like the AP, Associated Press, will have a headline saying
it takes a little bit longer.
2 Arabs dead, and not note the fact that they were shooting first. So again, Tachlis, what do you think?
So that's a problem with the first option. There are problems with both options.
I'm not convinced the first option will stop because Hamas fires rockets. We bomb the living daylights out of them. It doesn't stop.
So the second option is, it addresses the housing crisis in Israel.
but I don't think that's
it creates apartments for people to live in. So that's important. And the leadership, the problem here is the leadership has the ability to get their people to, I'm not going to say they could eliminate it 100%, reduce it by 75%. This whole idea that it's permitted when young soldiers are being transported on a bus to throw rocks to the point, rocks kill people.
But again, is there no middle ground between killing somebody and apprehending them? Why couldn't one of the soldiers get off the bus and apprehend the people throwing a rock?
You know to defund the police people want? They don't want, when you call 911, they don't want the police to come. They want a psychologist or a social worker to come.
Well, come on.
And wait till the first social worker or psychologist gets a bullet in the head and make sure, you'll see how that doesn't work.
You think there's no middle ground?
Well, no, tell me what's the middle ground.
The middle ground. I mean, you have a guy throwing
What's the middle ground?
What's
the middle ground? Please stop. What's
the
middle ground?
You go arrest the guy.
Arrest him? Okay.
Go arrest him. Go put him under arrest.
I don't know. You have
He's throwing rocks. You have a gun. You don't have to shoot him, but you could definitely make it seem like you're going to.
The Israeli jails are full of people that did all kinds of crimes, from crimes like this to more serious things.
Well, let me tell you something. The second option definitely has more depth, but the problem with the second option, I think, is that okay, so now you're going to put Jewish people living here. You don't think they're going to have rocks thrown at them? You don't think they're going to be attacked?
In the beginning, yes. Over time, it'll change the character of whatever area he's talking about.
Another story we have here. Otzma Yehudit chairman MK Itamar Ben-Gvir arrived Thursday afternoon together with the other members of his party for a meeting with President Isaac Herzog as part of the president's consultations with the Knesset parties following last week's election for the 25th Knesset. The meeting was held a day after President Herzog was caught on a hot mic warning the representatives of the Shas party about partnering with Ben-Gvir. And I quote, "There is one issue that I did not mention. You will have a problem with the Temple Mount. It's a critical issue. I know, but you have a partner whom the whole world around us is anxious about." I also told him that what is said between us is really not to be publicized. I do not want to cause trouble. It is really not to be publicized. That's what Herzog said. Right. Today, Herzog told Ben-Gvir, because the things I said came out, it is important for me to say them because I also said them to you before and after the elections. You and your party have a certain image that allegedly, and I say this with the utmost sincerity, causes concern in many places. There are many questions that I am asked about. Citizens and leaders around the world, people write and ask me every sensitive issue related to human rights. Ben-Gvir responded, "This is not the first time I'm here, and it is not the first time we have talked. It seems to me that during our in-depth conversation, I told you my thoughts and my worldview. I do not generalize all Arabs and look at them, God forbid, as a unit. I returned from Eilat, and I met students there from Nazareth. You should have seen one by..." It gets cut off there.
Oh yeah, they were taking selfies with him, the Arab students.
Okay.
And he says after that this is why the people of Israel elected 15 seats for this right-wing party. Now,
but isn't Ben-Gvir, isn't he a bit of a kanai?
He might be. They say that he's a follower of Rabbi Meir Kahane. Okay. He said in other stories that he was a follower of Rabbi Kahane. He agrees with some things that Rabbi Kahane said.
Kahane's Yartzheit was actually last week,
and some things he doesn't agree with. But the point why I want to do that story is because this whole idea of the next Israeli government and the fact that the president of Israel, who just traveled to the UN and a few other countries, the whole issues between Israel and the rest of the world right now is what happens on the Har HaBayis. What happens where the Beis HaMikdash stood? This is the issue.
What is Ben-Gvir suggesting?
Ben-Gvir wants Jews to be able to visit the Temple Mount freely.
But we're not supposed to.
No. That's the issue between you and your rabbis. A lot of people do.
Okay.
A lot of people that look just like you, and maybe a lot of people, a lot of very.
Can I put you on the spot?
Did I ever go there?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Would you go there?
I don't know. I would like to visit as a journalist.
I don't think it works like that. But I don't think you can go up to Shemaim and say my press card.
My rabbis that I'm in touch with forbid me to go.
Okay.
So I respect that so far.
So as it pertains to us, I mean, the Har HaBayis is not really an issue.
No, but it's an issue for Jews. And it's, you know what, Nachi, it's not a religious issue. It's a human rights issue. Why should Jews be denied going anywhere because they're Jews? What kind of message you send to the world that because you're a Jew, you can't go to place X because you're a Jew? Why? And this is a problem. This is a problem in other parts of Israel where they have those big red signs warning Jews not to go there because you're going to get killed if you go.
I mean, it's not forbidding. You could go there. You just might end up getting killed because there are animals.
I'm talking about the Temple Mount. I'm talking about where the base of Mikdash stood. I'm not talking about the Har Bayis.
Where it's unlawful to go.
It's not unlawful to go. Jews go there. You're saying halachically? Halachically, there are problems. Because
so Jews are allowed to go up there in terms of the government allows people,
but very often the government
they're not allowed to daven.
They're not allowed to close their eyes. You're not allowed to close your eyes.
I mean, you can't.
And you're not allowed to move your lips. Okay. I once saw a video of a guy that went up there with his girlfriend. Okay, and he wanted to get married, and he wanted to say to her, he wanted to marry her. Right. So he slipped a ring out of his pocket and quickly put it on her finger and said "Harayat" in front of two of his friends. He wanted to get married on the Har Bayis.
And he did.
Yeah, but that's a religious ceremony, and to the Arabs, they claim that it's denying the sovereignty of what they call the Harim al-Sharif.
Al-Aqsa.
The two mosques are there.
Well, listen, I mean, playing soccer there is probably not so nice either.
There's a lot of deception. There's a lot of fraud going on. It's not sincere. And I don't want to get into the religious issue. I want to get into the human rights issue.
I hear you human rights issue.
Why should a Jew in a Jewish country not be allowed to go anywhere that he wants?
I hear your concern for that.
That's Itamar Ben-Gvir's position. And he wants to protect Jewish rights to live free.
I think when it comes to President Herzog, it's just sort of like, we want to choose our battles, and that might not be a battle we want to choose right now. Well,
you see, but the people of Israel, if to get 15 seats in the Knesset, you have to get a lot of votes. So it's not about Itamar Ben-Gvir or the other 14 members in his party in the Knesset. It's about what the people who elected them want. We lose sight of the fact of what an election is about. If the Republicans win the majority in the House of Representatives here, it's not because 400 people or 200 and whatever they're going to end up with, 230 people decided they want to be a member of the Republican Party and serve in the House. It's the millions of people who sent them there, because that's the sentiment and the feeling of the country. They want to move in a certain direction, and the same thing is true of Israel. And if hundreds of thousands of people voted for Ben-Gvir and Smotrich and other members of his party, it's a matter. You can't have one guy, even if he's the president of Israel, go against what the people of Israel want.
Right, I hear you. As always, please leave any comments, reviews, ratings. We appreciate all of your feedback. And if my father insulted you in England in any way, or I insulted you in
just
England,
write to Nachi. He doesn't let me see the emails until he reads them on the air.
Have a great weekend. Have a great Shabbos. Hope you enjoyed this video from Meaningful Minute. We have so much more content for you. You may like this. You may like this. Take your pick. Let us know what you think.